And since we are talking about greater transparency and more accountability, it's an important subject not just for social media but across the board. So I'm going to move now from the social media platforms to one other interesting conversation, and that's about the accountability and transparency and good corporate governance even of our public sector companies. Our government-owned companies, the PSUs, many of them Navratnas as they are called in our country, and even otherwise in corporate India. I am talking about the independent directors who are present in boards of all of these companies, and the fact that their job really is to look out for the interest of the minority stakeholders and investors. Minority stakeholders are usually the retail investors or those with very small percentage of stakeholding, not the giants like the institutional investors, the big firms who buy into a company. But everybody's interest must be taken care of, including the minority stakeholders. The accountability of a board in taking fair decisions, clean decisions, following the processes, all of that, the onus also comes on the independent directors. And they're supposed to be independent so that they don't just act in a way which will only help the promoters or the owners of a company. This is just a general setup. All of this also obviously applies to the government-owned companies as well, whether they are banks or oil companies or fertilizer companies or those into the metal sector, any company which is government-owned. The same should apply. Now, a lot of debate and conversation has gone on for a long time of just how independent are these independent directors, or do we just find people for the heck of it and put them there in these places, pay them some money just to meet the rules and regulations and just get along with our life? There's been a larger conversation about that. Today in the Indian Express newspaper reported a story where they had filed an RTI and did an exhaustive research and investigation into the records of 146 central public sector undertakings. Now, here is the interesting part. There are about 172 independent directors in 98 of the PSUs that we have, the public sector undertakings. Of these 172, the Indian Express reports that 86 independent directors were linked to the BJP, which is in power at the center. And hence, it adds to the whole conversation of just how independent are these independent directors. If you're linked to the BJP, that means you're linked to the main owner promoter of the company, which is the government in the cases of PSUs. But this is not a new trend. In fact, similar debates also happened during the UPA's era. Even under the leadership of Manmohan Singh, there was a similar pattern that was observed, and Indian Express itself at that point of time had also done this story. And at that point, they had looked at 37 independent directors in public sector banks. And 33 out of these 37 independent directors had ties to the Congress party. 5 of them were AICC secretaries of some kind. There was a vice president, part of the board, secretary of the All India Mahila Congress, secretary of the Seva Dal were part of some of the other board. So it's a problem that has existed for a while, which is why even the market regulator SEBI has been constantly trying to change the rules and make this independent director person post really independent. And that is what they seem to be doing with another set of reforms that they have announced today. Which brings me to today's big conversation. The market regulator, SEBI, today after its board meeting said that they have decided that appointments, removals for independent directors will happen via a special resolution of all shareholders. And here is the interesting part, that the committee that actually does this entire approval and selection process needs to disclose how a candidate really fits into a skill set. So if you've decided to make one BJP leader sit as an independent director on the board of an oil drilling and refinery company, you must tell us why this BJP leader really has any kind of expertise to sit on this board. Similarly, in the erstwhile era, if a Congress party linked All India Mahila Congress spokesperson was sitting on a public sector bank's board, we must know what is her expertise in banking for the fact that she was put in place there. SEBI's come up with new other rules as well. 2/3 of the nomination and remuneration committee itself needs to be independent directors. Earlier it was majority. 3-year cool-off period for key managerial personnel as independent directors. This is an important one as well, because we've now seen that you're the CMD of the company, and immediately after stepping down and retirement, you become an independent director of the same company. Now, what kind of independence is that? So there needs to be at least a 3-month cool-off period as well. If there is a resignation of an independent director, it must be disclosed with a list of present directorships, memberships of various committees that they have. So greater transparency in that sense, and so on and so forth. The conversation I want to have tonight is about whether these steps will help and what else is needed. Corporate governance is a very important aspect. Looking out for the interests of stakeholders, shareholders, investors is a very important aspect. And we put a great amount of hope into these so-called independent directors to speak on our behalf, to stand up and question board decisions, to ask whether a certain decision is good for the company's business or only for the promoter, to ask if a certain decision is good for the company's business and the shareholders or only a set of people, or is it being done under the pressure of somebody. For all of that and more, you need independent directors. Let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us on this conversation. Dr. Sameer Kagalkar, spokesperson for BJP, joins us this evening. Professor Gaurav Vallabh, national spokesperson for the Congress Party. Mr. Jayant Gupta, managing director for Stakeholders Empowerment Services, former executive director with SEBI. Dr. H.D. Kunteta, former director for finance at REC. Yashovardhan Asad, former IPS and Central Information Commissioner, also joining us this evening. Mr. Gupta, let me start off with you. Your own reading of what SEBI has announced today specifically for independent directors, their appointment and their skill set requirements.
Okay, good evening everybody. So I would say that at present there are two parallel regulations. One, what SEBI wants for all the companies. Other, what are applicable to PSU. While on piece of paper, all the regulation that SEBI makes is applicable to all PSUs. Even the guidelines which has been issued by public sector enterprises very clearly says that all the listing regulations of SEBI are applicable to PSUs who are listed. And it goes even to the extent that even the unlisted public sector companies should follow the governance guidelines of SEBI. So that is the paper position. Factual position is that there are numerous exemptions which have been given to public sector enterprises. Some of them, I agree, are required because of sensitive nature of business that some public sector does, but many of them are absolutely not required. I will give an example. In public sector, when the government employs or appoints independent director, they say you are appointed for 2 years or 3 years, or till such time the President of India pleases, whichever is earlier. So that means every independent director who is appointed in public sector is a temporary employee who can be called back anytime. And it is not that this government is doing, it has been going on forever. Whereas the law, the Companies Act says that the director should be appointed for 5-year period, maximum 5-year period, and 2 terms. But if you look at public sector independent director, generally they last only for 2-year or 3-year term total. We had pointed out in our report in 2017 of the issues of non-compliance of the public sector undertaking, various governance things. That is one part. The second part is this, I can imagine the plight of public sector boards, because when we point out in our reports that this company does not meet the independence criteria and it is short, the company secretary of public sector writes to us, look, what can we do? Our NRC cannot identify and appoint independent director. It is appointed by the concerned ministry. Now, if the ministry is sitting tight on appointment of the directors, what can the public sector do? So public sector today is in a position where you have tied the hands and legs of all the employees or the management of the public sector, and then you say you run as fast as the private sector runs. That's not possible. There are numerous cases where you will find that this is happening. And the worst part is this: whenever regime changes, the directors also change,
Yes.
which very clearly says that are they appointees of the political party or are they appointee as an independent? I have never been able, but I would say that this is not only disease with the public sector, it is with the private sector also. Whenever there is a takeover, whenever there is a management change in the private sector also, all the independent director changes. So which brings to the fore that are these independents only independence for the word independence,
Yes.
or for the meaning of independence?
Absolutely
But-
right.
but-
In fact, Mr. Gupta, what you said, even the private sector, you will see everybody will try and gun for the most recent retired bureaucrat. The best way to go forward is to get the retired babus who till the last 1 year or a couple of years ago were taking decisions about your sector and company, get them on your board as independent directors, and life is good. I mean, and you're right, as regime changes, these independent directors also change. Now, how do you fix this? Before I go across to Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, I actually want to bring in Mr. Kunteta, former Director for Finance at REC, because you would have actually seen it from the inside, how difficult it is to manage the demands and the pressures and the questions either from those standing up for minority stakeholders, or the market regulator, or of course the owner of the company, that's the government.
Good evening. When I joined, I was the Director of Finance of the REC, and first time the directors were appointed, they were having the good track record and the good, very excellent skill. So during that period up to July 2012, we have found that the most of the independent directors were have the excellent quality, like Devi Singh, who was the director of IIM Lucknow, Mr. Rao, who was the president, chief executive of the National Committee, and which he has the position of the Deputy State Minister, and they have done the excellent job during that period. However, what Mr. Gupta has told is also very right. After that, some appointments have been made on political grounds, like some Congress peoples or some BJP peoples have joined there as a director. And first of the thing is that why the appointment is only for 2 years. They are coming as a temporary, not thinking to serve for 5 years. Whereas as per the Companies Act, the appointment should be for 5 years, but government normally appoints for 2 years. If they are happy, then they give the 1 year extension. So it should be the appointment should be given on the for a tenure of 5 years. Then they can serve better. As far as the present system is concerned, I cannot comment. But today the SEBI has amended this independent directors rules, and now as per this circular or amendments made, it is applicable to all the listed companies that the directors should be appointed by the shareholders, and it must be approved within 3 months from the shareholders by a special resolution.
Yes.
That is the requirement.
In fact,
whereas earlier it was to be approved by the ordinary resolution, now it has to be approved as a special resolution. that changes has been made. Or as far as the private sector or public sector are concerned, Mr. Gupta has rightly said that whenever the company management change, all the independent directors are also changed, which is not good for the corporate governance. If the person has the capability and the skill, then there is no need to change unless there is just some point on now. As per the amendment, he has to, when any independent director resigns, he has to give the reason why he's resigning. He cannot say that I am resigning or personal ground or some commitments are there. He has to specify why he's resigning, what are the reasons for that. So I welcome some of the amendments which have been done today.
So
And
that's an actually very important one, Mr. Kuntera, that you highlighted, that when you resign, you give these reasons in a hope. Now, a lot of this may sound great on paper. I don't know how it will work practically. The other one, for example, Mr. Azad, is the one where it says that you need to specify the skill sets that these candidates have when you are going through the selection process. How interesting would that be if we look at the independent directors, on our Navratnas at least?
Wow, now
Mr. Kuntera, if I can just take that question across to Yashovardhan Azad.
Okay, thank you.
Tanvi, it's really great to hear what should be done, what should have been done. But in actual reality, PSUs today are bleeding our taxpayers. First of all, there are 277 central PSUs in this country. And there are two categories of people who are appointed as independent directors mostly. One is because the party walas have to be adjusted, and second is the retired IAS officers. Now, Mr. Gaurav Vallabh and all these will definitely talk about the BJP party workers, but nobody talks about the invisible hand which you have mentioned, that is the IAS officers who are in various ministries and from joint secretary who are on the board of those companies which they service as a ministry right till after appointment. The selection is done also by the three secretaries and two independent people, and therefore you can understand what a heavy political hand is there in their selection. My only suggestion is that if you want to get out of this trap, the way to do is to have truly independent people, not only here, but at all the echelons. Look at SEBI, it's a retired IAS officer. Look at RBI, it's a retired officer. If we have a Raghuram Rajans, if we have a Bimal Jalan, if we have a Monte Ahluwalia, in all these places, the entire paradigm will change. Look at how this country suffers the Air India. Look at the board members. Look at the kind of facilities which have been taken by these people without any contribution. Has any board member resigned, registering his protest against the policies or a particular action? No. Now, you are talking about the skill sets. The question is, who is going to assess? Who's going to put up these names? Is the same three secretaries of the government of India with two people. Who is going to judge? Another secretary of the government of India. And therefore, where will you have a way out? There is no way out. In Indian democracy, it is a kind of a political dispensation with the PSUs, which you have to suffer unless there is one government which steps up boldly and says so far and no more. That is the only way, otherwise this is going to continue.
So far and no more. And let me add to that, Dr. Kagalkar, you know what the irony of the situation is? That it is the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, which is a central government think tank, which 2 years ago came out and said that the selection of independent directors for PSUs has not remained independent. Instead of experienced domain experts, preference is being given to ex-IAS or recently to political affinity. So the whole idea of independent director has been vitiated. Now, if the central government's own think tank is clearly saying it, we know that the problem is grave. Why are we not being able to stop this, whether it was the UPA earlier or the NDA now?
Good evening, Tanvi. Good evening, all. The regulatory transformation expected to be brought about by SEBI and other regulatory organizations is a welcome step in the right direction. Undoubtedly, as there is an issue, and as rightly pointed out, it's not an issue of day one or day zero. It has been there for quite some time. That said, there are two issues that one needs to sort of really try to differentiate and understand. One is the relevance and appropriateness of a candidate to be an independent director. Number two is the political affiliation of that candidate, right? In my assessment, the political affiliation of a candidate shouldn't matter much, so long as you have the right candidate being on the board. I mean, someone who is a CA, someone who is an IIT, IIM graduate, someone who's a professor at a well-known B school. I mean, it should be more than welcome to have them on the boards of SBI, so on and so forth, irrespective of their political affiliation. Political affiliation is a part of that personality, but so long as there is a fitness in terms of their qualification, experience, capability, and the expected contribution to the board, it must be a welcome thing. Now, the second part is, why is it that you have a political appointee who is not fit enough to be on the board? That's a question that primarily I heard the earlier panelists speaking on, and the Janata in generally that they talk of. This calls, in my assessment, a larger debate about what the PSU role itself is, right? I mean, if you allow me a half a minute to speak about the broader theory, the theory is just of the divorce between the ownership and control. The ownership is separate and the control is with separate set of people. Therefore, you need a board, and therefore that board needs to have certain set of people who can monitor the activities of the top executives and also take care of the interests of the shareholders, especially the minority shareholders. In today's context, especially with PSU, let me not focus about the private sector. I'll keep it out of the focus now. In the PSUs, you're talking of a PSU that rolls up to a ministry, and then it's doing the bidding in terms of the policy of a particular government. And you expect that a political appointment is a bad thing. I mean, if anything, I would rather look at it the other way. If anything, I would want a political appointment on the board for the simple reason that there is an alignment between that independent director and what the vision of the government is expected to be rolled out through the particular organization.
Dr. Kagalkar, the term of the post, the name of the post, Dr. Kagalkar, is independent director. And not of the political party who's also in power in the government and thereby the owner of the company. Then there is no independence.
Allow me 30 seconds. So take the case of, let's say, a Jan Dhan Yojana, and the best way to roll out the Jan Dhan Yojana is through an SBI, for instance. Now the real question comes in, if you have a set of people who are running the organization, who themselves are rolling up into a ministry, what is the need for an independent director, political or non-political? It becomes irrelevant. So the larger reform that one should be asking, seeking, and strongly pushing the government, while the government is anyway on the way, is to ensure that the private management comes into play. A set of professionals who are independent of the government control runs the organization on the vision of the government, and that needs to be probably in tandem.
Let me give you. No, I see what you're saying, and you're saying that you to have people on the board who see the same vision as the government is going to be helpful, but that's exactly what you don't want. And by me saying you don't want people to have the same vision doesn't mean that they need to constantly create hurdles in terms of the board's decisions, but to be able to see it with a pair of third eyes. That, you know, we are going to see it as a third person, as a third entity, and see what is right and what is wrong with the policy that you may be looking at, whether it's a self-interest policy or in the interest of shareholders. Let me simplify it as I go across to Professor Vallabh as well, Professor Gaurav Vallabh. Now, if there is a bank, a public sector bank, and you put a political appointee in the public sector bank as independent directors, is that independent director going to be questioning all the loans which are being given to the crony capitalist friends of the government? No, they will not.
Tanvi, the genesis of independent directors in the Companies Act of 2013 is for the improvement of corporate governance. And if I will make a mathematical equation, that independent directors, how they will improve the corporate governance, first thing, they should be independent in its true sense. Second thing, they should be eligible or expert in that area. And last but not least, they should have a time to devote. But unfortunately, what is happening, Tanvi, because today I don't want to have a tutu meme debate, it's an important issue you had raised. Unfortunately, what is happening, those who are eligible have no time, and those have time are not eligible. So this is a very specific dilemma which is happening in the independent directors as far as PSUs and corporate sectors are concerned. Dr. Samir had pointed out fitment. Dr. Samir, I just want to know, how can a troll become an independent director of ONGC? Do you think it is a fitment? Another troll from your party become an independent director of Air India. He is right now the member of parliament, Rajya Sabha. So do you think they deserve to be independent director? Their only qualification is that they do morning to evening social media trolling. Second point, what Yashovardhanji had raised. Yashovardhanji, I agree with you, and I agree with Dr. Gupta. There is no counter argument against you because I am a student of corporate governance. I know what you are saying. But Dr. Yashovardhanji, I would like to take your argument a little bit further. You are correct. Babu's after retiring joining the boards, but there is another league, Ajad Saab. Another league is the Reserve Bank Governor, SEBI Chairman, SEBI Executive Director, Reserve Bank Executive Director, State Bank Chairman, State Bank MD. All these retired. As soon as they retire, they join the boards of those corporates where they had a major exposure. And I can give you a number of people who are doing this thing. I had a solution, Tanvi, and I would like to share my inputs with all of you. Number one, there is every year there is a meeting of independent director that is mandatory. Why can't the minutes of that meeting can be a part of the annual report of the company? So that people should know what independent directors are discussing when they are meeting in between. Second point, Tanvi, and this is also a constructive suggestion, that is, every director used to evaluate the other director. There is a peer-to-peer evaluation. If the same peer-to-peer evaluation of the directors can become the part of the annual report of the company, so that shareholder knows that how other directors are rating this director who doesn't have an expertise or who doesn't have a fitment because he is a social media troll. Third point, Tanvi, that can we have only one term for independent director? Because what is happening, that independent directors having term after term, after 2 terms, there is a cooling period of 3 years. Again, they are eligible. So as soon as you are going to get an reappointment, it means somewhere you are losing independence. And last but not least, because your panel is very rich and I want the panel members' view on this thing. Can we give in public that which independent directors got reappointment, how many times they had descended during the board meetings? There is no record as such. I think as a shareholder of the company, as an investor in the company, I am having all right that which director is saying only yes, 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 because ultimately they are becoming yes men, and
Yes,
which all
okay.
directors are
But-
descending. So that those points should be included as a part of the annual report of the organizations.
Yes, but I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but a lot of these, the core issue doesn't get even then resolved, Gaurav Vallabh. Which director is going to give a very realistic, scathing report of the peer director who is a political appointee? Nobody is going to do that because it's a political
Tanvi.
appointment.
They give.
This
No,
has to
Tanvi,
be,
they
this
give.
has to be stopped at the root. Only if you have the skill set and are able to show true independence in your actions, where I agree with you, show their actions in terms of revealing the minutes of the meeting or putting it in your annual report, make it more transparent, then I understand. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Mr. Azad wants to come in here. Yes, go ahead, please.
You know, I really want to tell Professor Vallabh that he has come up with excellent points, and the one main point which he's talking about is the transparency.
Yeah.
Can we bring in transparency in the functioning of the independent directors on the board? I'll give you an example. I was on a panel where one of the sitting ministers was proudly announcing that one of the biggest garbage dumps in Varanasi has been cleared with the CSR money of a PSU. Now tell me, what are the implications? The implications are very clear. as whatever rightly Professor Ballab is saying, that all these people keep quiet while the political hands run the CSR money of these PSUs. How can you have a PSU like this and you know what is the kind of halla gulla which takes place during the appointment of a PSU chairman? And I'm aware of the internal things because I had been in the government during that time as to how many rounds and how much effort is made despite the candidate being so eligible and so worthy of the case. And immediately you get 10,000 cases against him. So, what I'm saying is the system can only be fair if you take a break. And I'm telling you, this will benefit both the government and the opposition. For once, damn it, let things be on merit. It will help you, it will help everyone.
Well, let me go back to Mr. J.N. Gupta and look at some of the announcements that have been made today. Mr. Gupta, will those help, or is it something more that the market regulator should specifically do to address these issues, especially of political appointees?
See, Tanvi, I say that independence is nothing but character of a person. And there is no thermometer or instrument made which can measure your independence. It is your character. How do you demonstrate it? But one thing I would say categorically, don't demonize only the PSU independent directors.
Correct.
There are same type of directors available in the private sector, and maybe even worse. That is one. And I think Mr. Gaurav Ballab was on the board of PNB Housing Finance, if I am not wrong. And see what PNB Housing Finance, which is not a PSU in the real sense, which has directors from all walks of the life, what they have done. So the issue is the legislation can only bring fear in your mind. Legislation cannot bring character. And what I say is this: nothing or everything cannot be legislated, because prudence cannot be legislated, governance cannot be legislated. You can make rules. Now, when Mr. Ballab says that independent directors meeting minutes should be made public, now I don't think you need a legislation for that. If the independent director of a company decide that, look, this is my meeting, I will decide. What is happening is, this is the fear factor. The fear is that if I speak, I am removed as an independent director, nobody is going to appoint me as an independent director, and that fear is real, and it is a real fear. But then tell me, if 20 independent directors decide today that we will be speaking truth, then I can bet that nobody will dare to remove those 20 directors, because then you are exposing yourself. So what happened? You need one person to show the way. And then about Mr. Ballab saying that many people retire and join for private sector, it is true, but not all do, as I have not done. The second thing is this: in PSUs, you will not find retired bureaucrats finding job as an independent director, because PSUs do not pay. So all those bureaucrats will find place in companies, listed companies, where they get much more than what they have earned throughout their life. So when you see the remuneration of bureaucrats, top bureaucrats into the companies, you find they earn 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore per annum. Not all, but some. Then you see that what is the motivation. So what I will say, that legislation will never be able to bring character. And that is where the gap is. And SEBI today thinks it will help something, but not all. Because today, when you say that special resolution is required, so till now, none of the directors' appointment could have been defeated in PSU, because government owns in most 75%, in some 90%. In very few, it holds between 50 to 75%. And I will tell you one example. What happened in one of the public sector, there was a notice for reappointment of director or appointment of directors. The regime changed. The government voted against appointment of those directors, which I have never seen a promoter voting against its own resolution. But that is what the reality of
That
life.
is the political angle of it, and which just goes on to prove how these appointments have become so political. In fact, you're right, Mr. Jain Gupta, that and this is not just limited to the public sector companies. This is also a problem with private sector. I mean, until SEBI took a few steps earlier, about a decade ago, it was a legitimate, full-fledged business by itself. All you had to do was to be on the boards of 10, 12, 15 companies as an independent director, draw handsome remunerations from all of these companies and not do any job. Scam after scam was emerging, and all of the independent directors on these companies were absolutely clueless about these scams which are, being carried out right under their nose, because nobody is interested in doing their job as an independent director. Now, that cleanup has been gradual, but we still have a lot to do. Both Professor Vallabh and Dr. Kagalkar want to make point. Dr. Kagalkar, to you first, and then to Gaurav Vallabh. Yes.
One quick point that I would want to make is I do not want to join issues by speaking about some toll has been nominated, so on and so forth, in which case we also know that economic teachers of young leaders have been made directors and MPs later on. So let us not get into that. The point is, there is a transformation of the system that is very much required. First thing, if you look at the intent of the government today, the very fact that you have people no less than the caliber of Mr. Shibulal and co have been brought in sort of suggest and implement a drastic bureaucratic change. In as much as one of the earlier panelists rightly mentioned, it is a systemic thing, including the IAS officers, the pressure under which they work, or the alignment of the interest otherwise that they would have, right? So the transformation of the system is called for, and someone said you should take a break and then only system can change. It goes to the credit of the Modi government that they have taken a break, brought in people like Shibulal, getting into a complete transformation wherein the interests of the country and the interests of the people are served at large rather than the party per se.
Yes, Gaurav Vallabh, go ahead, please respond to that.
Okay. Tanvi, I agree with Mr. Gupta and Yashovardhanji that there are many people who are in a profession of independent directors. Their major profession is that they are independent directors. And Gupta ji, I am not on the board of the company which you had just now quoted, but I would like to ask and I would like to put my thoughts on this topic, that if there is a mandatory requirement that independent directors' minutes should be made public, if that is a mandatory requirement, I am sure the greater transparency is going to evolve. If there is a mandatory requirement that in a 5-year tenure of independent director, which independent director gave a dissent note on what issue, if that can be made public, I am sure the better transparency level is going to evolve. I agree that all retired Reserve Bank executives or SEBI executives or LIC executives or SBI executives are not joining. But I can give you many names, Gupta ji, and you are aware of that. I'm not saying it is 100%. Then coming to my last point, that if we are having a system that there is only one term, because what is happening, and I had served as an independent director in the past for many private limited companies. But if there is only one term, I am damn sure the transparency levels, the independence level, and this profession of independent directors is going to come down, and transparency level is going to go up. The ethical practices are going to go up. So this again and again reappointment, and then after cooling off period, again eligible for reappointment. If a person is on the board for 10 years or 10 plus years, I can tell you that he is going to he might have compromised his independence at some point or other.
Well, as long as there is transparency to show us what work he has done and how he has contributed, then, a decision can be taken. I know, Mr. Azad, you want to make a point, but very quickly I want to go across to Mr. Kunteta first on, should we, just to simplify this, Mr. Kunteta, just bring in a legislation which says no political appointments as independent directors. You think they are extremely qualified? You find other ways of bringing them on as consultants, as whole-time directors or whatever else, but not as independent directors.
Actually, everything depends on the character. If any director, independent director who is the BJP member or the Congress member, but has the good skill and qualifications and quality and good experience, then there is no problem. But point is that most of the independent directors, they are only belonging to the party and they see their interest. So this is the biggest problem. The character, if the character is good, then there is no issue. He has to see the interest of the minority shareholder. He has to see the governance. He has to see the compliance with the SEBI regulation, intercorporate loans given to the subsidiary or any other companies like that. I mean, you can see that at present, even REC and the PFC, they don't have the independent director since February 2021. So now 4, 5 months or 6 months or even somewhere more than 1 year, the independent directors are not there. So one of the most important objective of the having the independent directors to have the good governance is left automatically because the timely appointments are not made. Second point is that for independent directors, all the companies that provide that they can be paid remuneration up to 1 lakh rupees.
Yes.
But most of the government and public sector, they are not paying to that extent. They are paying some 20,000, some 40,000 or 50,000. Third point is that one of the parameters to appoint the independent director is to have the experienced retired directors, oblique CEO or CMD or CEO of the company. But hardly 0.001% have been appointed. Most of the appointments are either IS officer or the political party or somewhere the qualified or some academicians, they are being appointed.
Yeah.
So person who are having the good exposure about the company, they can be whether who are retired directors or CEO, they should also be appointed because their experience may be used in other companies, whatever they're looking to their tech record, etc. and skill.
Okay, point well taken. Mr. Azad, last word to you. You wanted to come in. Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad Mr. Kunteta has supported my point. There are two classes of, directors who are appointed. One is, of course, the political appointees, and the other are the retired IS officers. I just want to introduce a very, very important issue. As per the Right to Information, which is an act of 2005, all the board meetings are supposed to be published on the board unless they are prevented by the exemptions listed out in the RTI Act. And therefore, one of the best ways, and I support again Professor Gaurav Ballabh when he talks about transparency, that if you have the board meetings published, the audit self, it will be exposed that what is the function of the directors and what happens on all the important decisions once they have been taken. And therefore, the problem with us will remain unless we appoint truly independent directors, or as you said, at least for the CPSUs, forget them and have them as consultants.
Point well made. In fact, this was so prevalent at one point of time that there have been times when I wanted to track down, a bureaucrat who'd been working when I was covering that specific ministry and had recently retired. And the immediate thing that I did was actually to pick up the company board names and see which of the companies he had joined. That's how well established as a norm it has become. Now, I understand that in certain cases there is an argument to be made about expertise, and which is why you're bringing them on board. But it's the same thing that is also said about putting MPs who own certain businesses on the parliamentary panels for the same industries. If an MP who owns an airline comes onto the parliamentary panel of an aviation sector and votes and discusses and helps design policies for the aviation sector, you could say, well, he's the right person because he has understanding of the business, but it is a conflict of interest. It is a problem because he would want to make more money for his company and thereby come in with that view as well. It's not something which is worth taking a risk by saying, well, it's also about the character of the person. Similarly, a political appointee on any company's board as an independent director should be a no-no. A practice well established during UPS tenure continues in NDA's tenure. The market regulator must ensure that stricter rules are brought in to end this practice. Thank you for joining us.